Hello and welcome. This is just a few slides to show a place called Shangri La Springs, and that's in Alabama. And this place will show us that the melt is all around us. We have some beautiful scenery, some pretty flowers, waterfalls, and a tremendous amount of melted structure. A river goes through this place, and we would be told that this is what carved out this canyon. However, we are discovering that these rivers could not have done such a thing because they would have had to climb in altitude before starting to cut. And we know that rivers do not flow uphill. Therefore, we have evidence to say that geology and the narrative is false. Now we'll take a look at some of these pictures closer and see if we can analyze some of this. Our first slides were to just show the beauty of the place. Shangri La, very nice place. A lot of flowers, a lot of waterfalls, all the picturesque items that you would expect from a national park. This first pic is one of a young lady who is running through the water, as you can imagine, having fun. But in this slide, we can see that there is destruction. And this will not be evident to those who cannot see it. This to you is geological formations. These are layers of millions of years of buildup of sediment, layer after layer. And as a believer, you cannot have that belief. You either do or you don't. Because according to the Bible, we are probably about 6,000 years old, the earth. So, therefore, these layers would not have had a chance to build up to this level, which they say are millions of years old. Millions. But going back to the meltology approach, yes, these are buildings. These were buildings, huge buildings that were destroyed and thrown down, and now we just see the remnants of what that was. This picture's not great. It's got the sun coming through there, shining through. A little bit of too much on the sun, but you can still see that there are layers to these stone formations. And you can go one route or the other. You can say, yes, these are layers. And this took millions of years to build up. But you know that that does not fit the scripture. Therefore, what's the alternative? I propose to you the alternative is that this was a building and it was destroyed. Is that in the Bible? Yes, it is. Many, many, many times did God say he destroyed cities. Sodom and Gomorrah, Nineveh, Tyre and Sidon, different cities that were destroyed. Nice pretty flowers. Very scenic place. And here's our little river. Here's our little river that apparently can carve through layers upon layers of rock. And not only carve through the layers upon layers of rock, but it can climb up on top of the rock, the mountain, to start carving. It will do what rivers do not do. It will go up on top. Another nice scenic drop here. Cliff face, apparently. These trees are relatively young. All the trees here are relatively young. They're not grown up. So, where would the big trees have gone if this was ancient, an ancient forest park, and this is a mountain? Where are the big trees, the large trees, the 1,000-year-old trees? They're not here because it didn't happen. This was a building which got destroyed and flowed down into the valley, leaving a thin layer of soil, let's call it, that would be enough to have a tree grow, or bush. Young trees, not old. Here again, the river, which doesn't seem very deep to me, but apparently this carved through all these layers of rock, this river, to make this. Which is a more ludicrous claim? Millions of years of sediment buildup to make this, then a river coming on top of it, uphill, mind you, to start carving this out, to start carving this gorge out, or this was a building, and these were the waterworks in the building. When the building got destroyed, the waterworks got broken too. The aqueducts, if you want to call them aqueducts, fine. But the waterways, yeah, they got destroyed. And the building did too. Which is more plausible? That's up to you to decide. Here we have the building. I would call it a building because it is bricks that are destroyed. Bricks. These are bricks. What you would say is sedimentary layers over thousands and millions of years building up. I'm saying these were bricks laid, and the melt happened, and this all got pancaked down, squished down until it was thin, even to the point of becoming slate. Another beautiful flower, beautiful yellow flower in this melted nightmare. Another shot of the canyon. Again, getting a good look at the young, very young trees. And as before we've mentioned, this is a building. These almost look like steps going down here. It's hard to see with the shrubbery in the way, but these almost look like steps going down. But it's a building. And these are young trees. Again, the river that carved this out. So again, you have to make a choice. Evolution would tell you these layers builds up, layer, over millions of years. Then this river comes along afterwards and begins to carve down this canyon, carves it out. Usually, ludicrous or complicated claims require evidence. But in the case of geology, it does not. It does not, because it's mainstream science. It's considered correct, no matter what. Even though it's a big claim to say that these layers laid down year after year after year after year until it was very high. And then this river came in and carved it out. I don't see melted building being any more of a big claim, of a more complicated claim. In fact, it's much simpler. There's a building, it got melted, the waterways got destroyed, and they're still there. This all got melted away and destroyed. The bricks became flat because they were so viscous with the heat, they became flat and then solidified into one solid object. Much simpler than millions of years of sediments. Again, the river from another angle. And you can see the height it would have had to climb in order to start carving if this was indeed a mountain. Soon I'll stop referring to a mountain, because either you can see it or you can't. If you can see that this geology built up layer after layer after layer after layer, then this river carved it out. If you can see that happening and you don't see building gets destroyed by heat, the river is the waterway that was inside the building, but it breaks because, yeah, it's inside a pipe or something. It's inside a tunnel, pipe, aqueduct, whatever you want to call it, and it broke. If you can't see that part, then you're under a spell. You're under a delusion, and you can't see it. Again, young trees, just a picture of the young trees to show these are saplings. These are not even old at all, any of these trees. For to be a national forest park that's, this place is supposed to be millions of years old, these formations. No. And again, the trees are in amongst the building. They're growing they're very young and they're not very mature, because they've managed to get some nutrients from the carbon 14. There was clay in it. There was some nutrition in the bricks when they melted, and they became soil, which, all bricks are made from the clay of the earth. So that's what they become again. So here we go, another waterfall, beautiful waterfall. And this is what is supposed to have carved out this entire canyon. And you'll say, okay, well, that's pretty high up, right? That's pretty high up. Is that as high as it goes, though? Is that the height of the structure? No, as we saw earlier, it's not. goes much higher. The banks of the river are much higher. You can plainly see that in other photos. But again, you can see there are bricks. You can see the shapes of bricks in this face, especially over here and behind. These look like bricks because they were bricks. They got squished flat, pancaked, but they're bricks. Another picture of the river. Again, just another view of the same pattern where we see the melt and the bricks melt down. They melt, they individually conform, get thinner, then they harden again. Some of them do become part of the brick beneath it, but some do not. Some maybe have a little mortar in between still, I don't know, but they separate, but some don't. Some become a singular block, but they were all bricks at one time. This little river, nothing much going on there except, it's just the same. This was the waterways for this building. I know, it's hard to imagine because it's been so destroyed. But at one time, this was inside that building. I think we're getting towards the end. This is, again, the river and the same block formations, the same formations. They're not sedimentary. They are bricks stacked on top of each other that got heated and melted. I think that's my final pick of the waterfall. Shangri La Falls, the name of the park, or Shangri La Springs, I mean. So, thanks for watching, and I hope that this helps you along your way. Have a good night, and goodbye.